Hello and welcome to Art Friends. We are friends who like art. I am Cohen, and today I am joined by my singular friend,
Coda, that is me.
Coda.
Hello.
How are you today?
I am doing good. I
Where?
am I am a bit disappointed that it is merely two friends once again. However,
Yeah,
we will have fun nevertheless.
we finally kicked her off of the podcast
We finally
after all
kicked her
this
off
time.
after all this time. It
This
it,
was all a ruse.
it took long enough.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening, anyone. That was basically it, actually. There was
Yeah,
just an
this was just an
announcement.
announcement. The rest
We
of the
kicked her
podcast
off.
is just blank noise. It's
No,
just
it's good. Yeah, it's gonna be blank noise, but somewhere in there, there's gonna be the full version of "Never Gonna Give You Up" by Rick Astley,
yes.
and you better watch it all,
And
otherwise
if
you
it
won't
yeah,
experience it.
and you have to watch it all because somewhere in there is a hidden surprise to wealth. If you listen to it, I guarantee you will be the richest man on earth. So,
Also, a $500 million Amazon gift card.
yes, $500 million Amazon gift card. You will be able to buy out Amazon stock.
What do you want to buy with this gift card? You. Imagine that
Uh,
situation, jeez.
Imagine having an Amazon gift card for so much you just buy Amazon.
Oh my, I love this thought. But
Yes.
anyhow,
Anyways, uh,
Coda, Coda, Opalia isn't here. What are we even talking about?
what are we talking about? Well, I think we're not really talking about a topic as much as we are creating a thing.
What? Impossible. Are you saying we like to create? Are you saying we are like some sort of term that identifies people as liking to
Creative
create?
expression. Yes, we do.
No, creative isn't a word. Don't be silly.
But yes, okay, so today we are going to be messing around with some world building and some story writing if we get the time. The basic concept is we usually have about an hour 30 minutes to record each of these Art Friends episodes.
Yep.
We have prepared nothing. We have talked about
No.
nothing. Our goal is to, within that hour 30 minutes, create a flushed out enough world and story. The story is secondary. But
It is.
let's just try to make a world, Cohen.
Yeah. Like the first thought that went into my head is like a literal spaghetti western, because there's a subgenre of westerns which is
Oh, we're diving right into it. All
no,
right.
it's just a silly idea. I have a like I came up with an idea of how to maybe do this, like just
Uh-huh.
off the top of my head just now. But the first thought I had was spaghetti western, and the spaghetti western, for those that don't know, is a subgenre of westerns that are western movies specifically made by Italian people. So it's a spaghetti
Oh.
western, except it's a literal spaghetti western. Everything's made out of spaghetti.
can can it just be like a spaghetti western but like run by the modern day mafia?
Honestly, that's good.
But I think the first thing we should do is just brainstorm, just say all the dumb
Yeah,
ideas, all of them,
I
and
think
then
I
settle
think
on
uh,
something.
I think the better approach is to first establish a general tone. You know. So I'm gonna
Right.
close the windows. Those frickers are screaming outside again.
Off my lawn, you frickers.
You frickers! Don't make me pull out my freaking pencil the length of a forearm and a hand.
Don't make me pull out my frickin' frickers.
Frickers. That's the world building now. It's just one grumpy old man. But yeah, I think it's important to establish a tone, because you can't house a story like uh you can't house a story like freaking, I don't know, Coda, name a story from a show or a movie.
Wally.
Okay, you can't house Wally in like the world of freaking The Adventures of Gumball, you know? That just
Yes, exactly.
wouldn't work that well. The tone
That
is
tone is so
totally
different.
off.
So, I think honestly we should go for a sillier tone,
I like silly.
something a bit goofier, something a bit more, wacky.
Wacky, are you saying you're gonna. Whoa,
Whoa!
indeed.
Boing.
But no, I don't think we should go like full on Looney Tunes cartoon. I think it's fun if we have some wacky elements in, but make them somehow make sense.
Yeah, I want everything to make sense. I don't want it to just be like a well, there's a thing because it's a thing.
Like that isn't a problem in my opinion. Like you can have just an unexplainable thing, but as long as the consequences of that thing are fairly well fleshed out, it's fine.
Right.
Like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense that a full moon turns normal men into werewolves. But if you flesh it out well enough to the point where you have like claw marks on the road or like on rooftops that people are repairing,
Uh-huh. Or you have a
like
certain force
little,
that's anti-werewolf.
yeah, like little, and you might have like a werewolf cult or a group of werewolf hunters. Like those are like the consequences how the world would react to that situation, even if that situation or like thing that's in the world doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Right. You can add anything. I would like for the things to make some sense too, just in the context of the world. But
Yeah,
like you can really add anything, make it make sense later, and then but the main thing is how are people going to react to the world being that way? So,
yeah, like
if
that's a very hard part of world building because you have to have a deep knowledge of like politics and history and geography. Like,
yes, and I have a decent knowledge.
yay,
I don't know how much you've studied the subject.
I have no idea. I'm just gonna figure it out in this episode. But like, there's this like I'm gonna rant about something real quick. Like in I saw this in a YouTube video where like in Skyrim you can get sent to prison, like an underground mining prison, and all your loot gets like taken away, you know?
Uh
Except you can still use spells.
huh.
So you can just turn on a fire spell and blast your way through that underground prison. And like a way to fix that would be like have the people react to it in some way, like have some gauntlets that block magical powers or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. Or if someone knows how to use magic, just lock them in a different cell.
Yeah,
But
it's like
was it
people.
Horizon Zero Dawn with the time warping rain?
No, that was Death Stranding.
Death Stranding. I believe that's a good example of what to do because they had this
Yeah,
rain that messes with time. And instead of just making it a thing, they were like, well, what are the repercussions of this? Well, people could use it to age alcohol quicker. So now there's a beer company that takes advantage of this rain to age their alcohol. You know?
like it's really about that stuff. Like the thing itself can be unexplainable, and that can even give the audience like a sense of mystery. Like, ooh, I don't know what this thing is, but then it isn't like jarring because like it's jarring when there's a thing that's unexplainable and the consequences of
And
that
unreacted
and
to.
unreacted to. It's like imagine like a modern society except no one knows what guns are. So everyone, so like army men are like walking around in their shorts and then they get gunned down and they're like, what the hell is that?
Exactly.
Like that doesn't make any
So
sense.
yeah, I think for the first part of this, our goal should just be to have complete creative freedom in making this world.
Yeah,
Just say anything and everything, and then we'll make it make sense later. We'll deal with the repercussions
yeah.
later.
I think we also like we need to establish like a tone and a general like smartness of the people. So if it's like super hyper intergalactic, people might have like lightning fast connections.
Oh, okay. So a general like how advanced the technology is, and I think that'll come once we start throwing out
Yeah,
concepts. So if
true.
we say Western, well, that automatically implies how smart the people
Yeah,
are.
but like we like it like you can have a sci-fi setting with like overall people who aren't able to communicate with each other that well. So it could be like a like there's only like 50 people on an entire planet, and humanity is like scattered across the galaxy without any communication. So like if on one planet there would be this gigantic worm and no one knows about it because
Uh-huh.
they just can't communicate to each other.
Worm planet.
Worm planet, worm planet.
That's the entire planet's dedicated to worm.
Yeah, I still think that's so funny when it's like, yes, this is the galaxy. This is planet Earth. It has all these different climates. This planet is just sand. This planet is just ice. This planet is just worm. So
This alien race speaks the same language across the entire planet.
yeah.
They speak alien, just like how human speaks human.
Honestly, yeah. I still think like I get that it's for the audience sake, but if we want to do sci-fi, we should probably think of some way.
Think about an actual ecosystem.
Yeah, and think of why people are able to understand each other across like galaxies. Because
Yeah.
I know
And
Britain was pretty expansive, but I doubt they conquered the whole galaxy.
have you watched no, what was the name? Have you watched Code Geass?
What is that?
No, it's an anime where Britannia, which is the basically Britain, conquers the entire world pretty much.
Britain conquers the world. The anime.
But also mix.
Okay, now you got me interested.
All right, so here's also what I think we should establish. Is our world going to play off Earth, or is it going to be something totally different? Is it going to be like Earth, but wacky twist?
Wacky twist. It's all worms. Now we kind of have to do something with worms, honestly, at some point. We'll
do.
figure it out.
We do.
So I think we're kind of going for like a positive, feel-good, adventurous kind of thing.
Yeah, like I think an adventure would be fun. And I think like a low stakes type adventure. I don't want like a
Yeah.
world ending,
The worm is ending.
worm ending.
Worm ending.
We need to make like the god of this universe a worm.
Honestly. Like I don't know that much about religion, but you do. So we can make like the best religion.
Oh yes, I can just use all my theology to craft wormology.
Wormology.
A study devoted completely to worm.
I feel like in this episode might just like at the end of this episode we'll just be like, okay everyone, like, subscribe, and pray to the worm god.
Go down in the description to join Worm Cult server.
Oh, we need to do that now. And secretly it's all along just a link to the Our Friends server. Oh, this is great.
Okay, so let's just I literally had no ideas prepared.
We should give ourselves like a blank slate to work with, like you said earlier, with like, do we want to place it on Earth, on another random planet, or just a world?
Yeah, do we just want it to be a place that's kind of based off Earth, or do we want it to be in the Earth universe as like an alien planet?
That could be fun. Like in most fantasy, I just see, which kind of keeps it nice, ambiguous, and adventurous, where it's like, this is the land of ... There are places beyond here, and there's all sorts of places you can go to, but that's not what we're doing right now.
I've always liked the idea of realms. So, like, for
That's
example,
also fun.
you get teleported to, like, the magic realm, and it's, like, a different world that's, like, adjacent to Earth.
Oh yeah, that's always fun with like a sort of parallel.
Yeah.
We could base like a whole thing off of that, where it's like realm hoppers or whatever.
Yeah. I also like whenever you have realms. I think this happened to the Owl House. Like the Owl House messed with this concept where you have realms, and sometimes one realm leaks over into the other one, and like the things that leak over become like supernatural things that are taken and studied and sought after by scientists for who knows power, who whatever.
Power.
Power. What is this? Is this the hair of an elf?
Did you just come up with that?
Yes.
That's great, honestly. We could do something with realms, but we need to give ourselves like a blank slate of what to work off of. We could even do it where it's like the story starts off with like just a group battalion of like nice characters who just hop around realms and
Yeah.
find artifacts and move them to other realms.
I think that's another thing. How big do we want our main characters to be? Like, do we want it to be a
Yeah,
group, or do we want it to be like a dude or
I
a
think I
girl?
think like we're building mostly the world so the characters don't matter that much, but like I think we could go with like a group of 3 to 5 adventurers,
Okay,
you
fun.
know? Like
Uh-huh.
a nicely well-rounded cast. The thing we need to keep in mind is that we can have like uh people hopping across the multiverse and still have it be low stakes.
Right.
So they're not really saving the multiverse, they're just
Having a good time.
exploring. They're just having a good time and exploring the multiverse.
I imagine like that scene from Phineas and Ferb where they went to that space cafe.
That happened?
That did happen. Phineas and Ferb built a rocket and bought a space cafe filled with aliens. And they like owned it. Like these two teenage boys owned the only space cafe.
I can't watch that show because it's like, damn, they accomplished so much more than me.
I
I should
know.
watch it. I haven't watched it in forever,
I,
but I don't think it's on Netflix.
I feel like watching Phineas and Ferb is like being an inventor and watching Phineas and Ferb being so young and doing these things is like being a musician and watching Jacob Collier.
uh, what if the song "All I Need" was secretly a hint that Jacob is really all the music you need?
It's not wrong.
I do like other music still.
Yes, of course, I
It
was
might
kidding.
technically be not as impressive. I haven't listened to that much of Jacob's songs, honestly. I should do that.
Oh, he's so incredible. He, you know, he has
Like I heard a
perfect.
tiny bit of Moon River.
You know, he has perfect pitch.
Perfect pitch. What's that again?
It's something that you're born with, where you can hear notes perfectly, and like you could play a chord and immediately identify all the notes in the chord.
Oh dang, that's cool. He's a superhero.
He is, and he's used it better than anybody else. But
Honestly,
that's enough
we're
Jacob
getting off
gushing.
topic.
Yeah.
Let's think of a blank slate. Like
All right.
what's the scale we gonna?
So I think there we should think about different types of worlds because like there's like I
Yeah.
said there's the realm, there's the spin-off of Earth, which is like just a different place in the same universe as Earth, and then there's the different place entirely, like a fantasy world. Which one are you thinking?
Like this is a very important one because we could go in all sorts of directions. We could have it take place in a neighborhood. We could have it take place in a multiverse. We could have it take place in a neighborhood that switches dimensions every other week. So like
Oh,
one
that's a cool concept.
where it's like they just live in a neighborhood, but every week they just like switch to another dimension. And like
Yes.
the previous week they might just be in a world where everything's normal, but the next week there will be like dragons breathing sausages.
Oh,
I don't know.
yeah, and imagine that. It's like it's an entire neighborhood of people, so you have your core cast, and like sometimes people are like, "Yo, I like this world. I'm gonna stay here. I don't need to go back to Earth." But a lot of people are just like, "I'm gonna keep dimension shifting until one day I hopefully land on Earth again." By the end of the show, you have like maybe 4 characters left who all decided to wait for Earth.
Oh, that's a very sweet premise. Where it's like they like that could be very emotional too, where you have to see some characters go. You know,
Yeah, exactly. They land on like a fantasy world, and then they, in that week, meet a pretty girl and get married, and then
I'm here now. I'm gonna stay.
they're like, "Why are you gonna stay?" He's like, "Bro, I just married a 6'2" elf. What do you think? Why do you think?"
Oh, that's great. I married a 6'2" elf and I hunt wolves now. Giant wolves with 2 heads. This is awesome.
Dude, I've gotten a six pack since I've been here from hunting wolves. Is that not the coolest thing?
I didn't even use my abs really. I just got it.
I just, they kind of appeared. I think that this world just kind of gave me a six pack, bro. I'm never leaving. That
Oh,
was
that's
this
great.
world's gift to me.
Like, would we start out that story where it's like, we're focusing maybe a bit too much on the story, but I think that's fine. Would the story start out where they're already dimension shifting, or would it start out like, oh no, I made this town dimension shift? Frick.
Yeah, we would need to come up maybe with a reason why. Even if it's not fully revealed in the show, we should know why they're dimension shifting.
That's true.
But and I
Like,
say
but
show,
do
I say show. Even if I say show because it's just what I think of when I think of these type of stories. But
yeah. I don't think I think this format will be best suited for a show.
yeah.
Like a movie, it would be too
Oh,
fast
too
paced.
yeah,
I
made too
think.
fast paced. And for a book, it'd be too slow. Like, and what would you do? An entire land per book? That'd be way too many books.
No, but like cramming all of it into one book is also like quite strange, I think.
Yeah, so I think the best thing would be a place per episode, maybe.
Yeah. Or maybe like some will have like two episodes. Like
Yeah.
we wouldn't want to make it formulaic where it's like every episode new world, every episode one goes, you
Right.
know?
Exactly. It would need to have some more emotional climaxes.
Yeah.
Which this world has the potential to be super goofy, and it has the potential to be super serious because they're going to a new world every time.
Is this the concept we want to go with
I'm
for this experiment?
I'm gonna let's think of one or two more concepts because I think what this one is it's literally that it's a bunch of different worlds when our goal was to make a world.
That
So
is true. That is true. Bit of a cop out.
yeah,
We might explore it later. Let us know in the comments down below. But let's see. Let's think of a second concept. Like I think the first one is more like less fantastical in a way. Like they shift dimensions, and those dimensions could be
yeah, that's
whatever. But
more
I
of a
feel
show
like
concept than a world concept.
yeah, and it's more like suburban casual in a way.
Yeah,
You know, because
yeah,
they're still humans from Earth. You know,
exactly.
who all have Earth personalities and stuff.
Yeah, and I think it could be fun to have humans from Earth with realm stuff, but it would be more of a kind of a realm Earth dynamic without all the teleporting. So, oh, there's a magic realm. Magic leaked over to the Earth. Some top scientist got his hands on magic. He wants more magic, so he's sending people to this magic realm to go take back magic or whatever, and our story
That could be
follows
fun.
a special agent who's going on a secret mission to this magic realm.
I also just thought of something quite cool. I think.
Okay.
Okay, this is gonna start off sounding pretty cliche, but I think it could be fun. It's a world where humanity and stuff has just gone. It's just gone. Like they might have left. Like it's in the unclear whether they died out or whether they just left the planet. But like whole planet, it's like abandoned and it's taken over by very mobile robots. They're not like robots that are like clunky or mechanical or like just big bricks that can't move. Uh,
This
they're
is just
like
three robots.
yeah, sorta, honestly. But I added a fun twist to it.
All right.
Okay, so they're all like, you know, the basketball robots from that.
Yeah.
Okay, think that, but like more sporty, like more colorful, more jutting out parts, and even more mobile. Let's say,
Uh huh.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there's like a society of these robots, of these very mobile looking robots, and they don't need like food or whatever, but and they have plenty of electricity, so they spend their time doing extreme sports in the wreckage of humanity. So they would like freaking uh like do free running. Like they would free run on top of cars. Like there's a highway where there's all these empty cars and they would just hop on top of them and see who can do it the fastest, or they would, I don't know, bungee jump off of buildings.
Yes, that's a very fun idea. They're just like destroying everything around them for extreme sports.
Yeah, and they have like an entire world, and like even if this could be a lot of formats. This could be even a video game, honestly.
Yeah, so this is like a post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah, it's like post apocalyptic because when people say post apocalyptic, I'm thinking like Mad Max, like a Fallout or whatever, where everyone's still living in the aftermath. But it's
Yeah.
kind of beyond that, and it's like a whole new world, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh, okay. I was gonna say it would be fun if we had a show where people built a new world from scratch, but then I was like, oh, Doctor Stone.
Like I think it's fun if there's like this already established world with all sorts of mechanical robot system and society
Uh huh.
and all sorts of different stuff, and it's like based around extreme sports. So they like you might even have robots that can replace their legs to like completely be like a set of four wheels, so they can freaking dirt bike across a neighborhood or whatever.
That would be a good comic strip series, I think,
Yeah, that too.
or a good video game.
Like it could even be a TV show again because like every episode could be a new place on the world. So there could be like one episode might take place in like Egypt where the pyramids have kind of where the pyramids have this giant stuff on them. Like at the top, there's this giant balcony, which is kind of like a place people can like other robots can look down from. Yeah, and then they freaking grab like surfboards and they surf off of the pyramids into the dunes and see who can get the furthest without stopping.
That's funny. It would lead to some hijinks if they've like never seen a human before because all the bodies rotted
What you
away.
say?
I said it would be funny if they've like never seen a human before because all the bodies rotted away. But then they
Yeah,
like go to Egypt and find a mummy that's still fully intact, and they're like, "Whoa, what's this? What?"
it's like it looks like us. It's like this sort of shape, but it's so, huh?
It's so soft.
It's so soft.
How did these things do sports without dying?
Dang, they must have broken like every half a second. Honestly, I do like this idea of a world where it's like international across the globe. There could even be things on the moon, honestly. And like there's these just very mobile, like modifiable robots. So like maybe the robots in Egypt, if we go back to Egypt, are like very lightweight and their legs are kind of like sand shoes, so they're very
Right,
flat and high surface and like a
right.
wide surface so they can walk on the sand. And then there might be a couple in Alaska which have, I know, more like snow pikes as their forearms maybe, so they can
Yeah,
like extend their forearms as snow pikes.
we would have to think about a couple things. One being, how advanced are these robots? Are they completely AI? Are they, like, are they basically humans? Because if so, they would need government and law enforcement, and then they would have to
That's
rebuild
true.
that. And then, are they, how powerful are they? What models are there? We would really
True.
have to put some thought into this.
Okay, so well
Well,
then let
I
do
don't
we
I don't
want
want
to
to
go
get
with
too
this?
immersed into one idea before we completely settle on it.
True, but we do not have an extreme amount of time yet.
We don't. That's why I
So,
want to. I want to try one more fun thing to get ideas, and then we
okay.
can we can pick one of our ideas.
Okay, go there. This time you think of a concept because I basically thought of the other two. Uh,
Well, okay. So I have a lot of concepts kind of stored up. I've always loved the idea of gods getting involved.
is that your fantasy where God just kind of comes down and plays video games with you?
That would be hella lit. I love this idea where, like, in Rick Warden, how the gods are very present. Percy Jackson's like a kid of the gods. I think I
Yeah.
really I really enjoy that idea. So I was trying to think of concepts. How would we?
Uh, I would imagine that to be like society is more based around the gods than any sort of governmental system or
Right.
like political system because they just listen to the gods, you know?
Right. And then there's always the thing of what happens if the gods have kids, or can they have kids with humans? That would
Yeah.
bring up demigods, you know?
You could even have it where it's like the D&D thing where the more people that worship it, the more powerful the god is
Yeah, so it's
as like
like
a
different
being.
gods constantly trying to fight over each other's following.
It could even be like a movie, a very emotional movie, but like that the main character is like a god that no one believes in. So he's like at human level, if not below that, like a very frail human. And
Yeah.
across the movie, he makes friends and people start believing in him, and he gets his strength back.
He needs to
You
be
know,
the god of something totally idiotic.
worms. We found the use for the worm god.
Yes, the worm god.
We've done it.
I think that's fun, but here's one last thing I want to do before we dive into really settling on a concept.
Okay.
I want to each say one word and see where it goes. And then that
Okay.
might give us something. So I'll start off with my word. My word
Okay.
is tiny.
Fire.
Around.
A
Tinier.
banana
That.
is
Also.
on
Fire.
tiny fire around the tiny coming this summer.
We need to make that the world.
Yeah, we found the best concept, honestly. Also, doesn't matter what concept we end up going with, be sure to let us know your favorite in the comments.
Yes, for sure. All right.
And draw fan art of it. Draw so much fan art of it.
Let's
No.
let's come up let's come up with one more concept.
Okay, one more.
Okay, let's do the word thing.
Can I start this time?
Yes.
Plants.
Threaten.
Plants threaten. I don't want to just say humanity because that's boring. Let's see. Plants threaten cosmos
Because
of
growing
two.
wildly.
That's a fun one. I don't know how you'd have characters in that, but maybe it's
Well,
like a
like
side.
there's like a maybe there's some sort of the earth has been totally overrun with plants, and there's some sort of like deity that is making the plants grow super quickly, and they're gonna overrun the
Mhm.
cosmos eventually, and there are like alien forces who always go around with like weed killer.
I was thinking like just some aliens or humans or whatever like something evolved and no one knows what it is quite, but it caused the plants to just grow absurdly quickly.
Yeah, and so now humanity is constantly trying to fight back plants and find what's causing them to do this. And I think
Yeah,
that could be cool imagery. Like at the center of the earth, wrapped in a ton of vines, is like this guy with crossed legs and meditating like Buddha. You know, just like.
that is very fun. Maybe it's like the core of the planet, like you said, center of the earth, but like the molten metal core of the planet with like heat resistant plants in it somehow.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like
Stuff like that.
there could be like different types of plants, like heat resistant plants that the people would have to find new ways of killing other than fire. You know,
All sorts of fun stuff.
I like that.
It's a very fun one too. I still love the extreme sports robot one.
Yeah, I think this extreme sports is a little specific, but I think a world of
True,
robots would be fun because like the robots would build other robots
true.
that would eventually become smarter than them and overtake them.
I'm not sure if I want to do that. Like I have some thoughts on that. Like
And what is it?
it's kind of silly in the way that like they're computers. All of them are technically computers, but they have full consciousness, but they're not like linked. So like to communicate, they actually have to like speak to each other. They like the only way they could communicate directly is by like by plugging each other into some sort of cable, but then I'd like that cable to be very rare. So they would be sort of like with the limitations of humans, except they're robots, so they can like replace body parts and not worry about food or getting damaged
Would the
that much.
equivalent of having a kid be making a tiny robot?
Would they even be able to get kids? Because I watched this movie way back when, which was called Robots, and the way they had a kid there is they just bought it, and then every few years they had to buy a new kit so they could update it to get like to a more adult stage of
Did
life.
they just throw the other one away?
No, they like built on top of it,
Why not
you
just
know?
build it to be fully grown in the first
Yeah,
place?
exactly. It's so strange. I'm like, why is that? Like, I don't like the. I'd rather have it like where they're the same robot bodies, but maybe every so often their memory banks are just full, so they get reset.
And then they're like kids again?
Yeah, they might have like the same personality, but they lose all of their experience and maturity, but they still have the same body.
Uh huh. So, in this world, it would basically be humanity except robots.
Yeah, sorta. Except it's like more carefree and wild because they don't really
Yeah.
have any.
And I think what if like government power was like on the uprise? So like robots were currently starting to make governments and like, cuz maybe this whole robot thing and humanity being extinct is kind of new. And so now there are certain robots realizing, "Hey, we need somebody in charge. I'll do it." And so government power's on the uprise. There are anarchists who are like, "No, we're trying to fight against this." It could
True.
lead to some interesting politics to like rebuild a world politically.
But then again, that's not particularly carefree.
Yeah,
And
I can't
uh,
imagine a completely carefree world.
that is true. Like maybe the drama could like not come from politics, but instead from like I know, oh no, he got too badly damaged. He knew this stunt was ridiculous. Why would you jump off of the Empire State Building without a parachute?
I like
Uh,
the idea of them being extreme sports stuff, but maybe like the whole idea. I think we both love different aesthetics, and you love
true.
punk sports and skateboards. You know,
Yeah, I don't participate in it because I'm very weak, but I love the aesthetic of it.
it's a very fun aesthetic of like skate bowls and pipes and stuff.
And you like politics? No, I'm kidding. Go ahead. But what would you where would you like to take it?
So, I just think a world trying to be built because right now it's like a clean slate of complete freedom and anarchy. So, a
True.
world trying to be built is a very fun concept. Robots currently trying to rebuild a civilization and not. It could be a fun way of exploring how humans first built civilizations, except much sped up because robots are way smarter.
Yeah.
But okay, so I think we got some fun ideas. Let's look through them.
Yeah.
We got the realm shifting neighborhood, which I think is more of a concept than a world, so that's kind of off the table.
Yeah.
We got robots, I mean humans, but robots. We got
Mm-hmm.
a plant overtaking a planet and people having to fight back against plants, which I think is fun.
That's a very fun one. Yeah.
And we got tiny fires surrounding a tinier banana that's also on fire.
Honestly, I think that's our strongest one. Like we really like Star Wars. Get out of here. Freaking Lord of the Rings. No. Tiny fire around an even tinier banana that is also on fire.
I think we just won world building.
Yeah, we just won it. No one else has to try. They just have to try to get the essence of this one, honestly.
Yes.
How can you
Okay.
top this? Wouldn't it be hilarious if we went with that one and we actually write like a very good and emotional story about the microbes that live on that banana?
The banana will be burnt up soon, son. We have to take shelter. Mom, but I love the tinier banana.
Oh no. We are such good Uh, such good world builders. Heck yeah.
We are. So, I think out of all our concepts, we can elaborate most on some deity causing plants to overrun Earth,
So we're going
or
with that one?
robots but
Or
humans.
true. I think both could be very fun.
I feel like robots but humans has more potential for for innovation. You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean exactly?
Well, what I mean by that is plants overthrowing Earth is fun, but you still have humans, you still have
That's
what we
true.
know. It takes place in a modern setting. You know, when robots but humans. Well, of course, there's always the supernatural aspect of the plant one, which could be fun to explore, but robots but humans, which is basically what this is, you can reinvent a world. You can mess with different types of robots and different levels of AI. You could think about what does it entail that they're just anarchists. Do they constantly have crime going on? Do they have things to stop crime? Do they, what's going on?
Yeah.
Is there crime? Is anything illegal?
Is
Is killing
is
another
there
robot
even crime?
illegal? Yeah. Can you kill
Yeah.
another robot? Is their
Maybe.
subconscious uploaded to a different, like, what? You
Yeah.
gotta think about all this stuff.
All sorts of stuff we could think about. I also like the idea of the plant one though. Like I can already imagine like an entire bunker, literally maybe encased in some sort of environment that's very bad for plants, so there's like no sunlight whatsoever.
Yeah. But then you'd have the issues of like mushrooms, and that could be fun because people would try to come up with the one environment that plants can't grow in and build bunkers out of that.
Like I just envision this scene where it's like a task force of people in super bright red suits, like kind of baggy, super bright red suits, like kind of techie, sci-fi, with like giant ass flamethrowers. We're just plowing through like tree thick vines, basically. Could
Uh
be very
huh.
fun.
And I think it could also be fun the idea that during the winter is like their rest period because a lot of
Yeah,
the plants die out. And but during the summer is like so they have like the winter to prepare, and then during the
maybe it's like
summer.
the maybe it's like the opposite, where in the wind, do they would they even eat plants? Would they even eat like crops, or would they just purely survive on meat or and nuts
I feel
instead?
like they might have to eat crops because if the world is being overthrown by crops, it would be hard to make any produce survive.
That's true. Like, how far would the world be taken? Would it just be like 90% of the planet is taken, or is the infection just starting? Or
I think the story could start off where the infection's starting, and then like I said, they have like winter to they like maybe during summer plants start to overtake everything and everyone starts panicking. Winter they start to die out and they're like we need to prepare for next summer. And then that
yeah,
summer they have task forces, they have all kinds of stuff to deal with these plants. And then it's just every year they have to get more and more innovative about how they're gonna keep humanity alive against these plants, and they're always
yeah.
constantly searching for the source of the
That could even
growth.
be like a story that takes place across decades, and like the main character could be like a scientist trying to figure it out, like why the plants are growing that way.
Yeah, for sure.
All sorts of stuff. Like we came up with, like, if you guys like this kind of format where we just come up, we in this one we came up with like two kind of sci-fi worlds, but for our next one we could come up with like a fantasy one or a western one or pirate one, whatever you might like, or a
Yeah,
combination of
suggest
them.
worlds. You can suggest them on our Instagram, on our YouTubes, whatever.
Whatever, whatever platform. Be sure to subscribe to us on Spotify, by the way.
Indeed. So, which one do you want to go into? I like the plant one. I kind of drawn to that now.
Yeah, I am too. Like, I really like the idea of just this carefree world where it's all these robot punks who work together surprisingly well, like without a gun, without crime, and they just do extreme sports really. But that's not like any rich story potential. I think that's more video gamey, which I do
Yeah.
like. But and you could still flesh out a world with that. But I am very drawn to the plants, to the plant infection thing.
Yeah. So, let's spend the next. Do you have like 30 more minutes?
Yeah, probably.
Let's spend the next 30 minutes really diving into
This
fleshing
world,
out
yeah.
this world and creating it. Let's, before we get into anything else, think about the source of this. Is it a deity? Is it an infection from space? What is it?
Maybe it's like, maybe it's like, even like I don't like this answer, but it could be humanity caused, like in secret, where
Oh.
some smart people were like, okay, the world is hecking dying. We need more plants to get more oxygen into the atmosphere and stuff. So they just, like in a remote location, test out how to make plants grow exponentially fast, but then something goes wrong, and the plants grow so fast that it kind of suffocates them all.
Oh
Like,
wow. Yeah, yeah.
uh, I'm
And
gonna pull
it's
from,
like it's more of an infection. Like they accidentally create like a new plant virus that causes them to
yeah,
grow huge and fast and endlessly. And
yeah,
that starts to spread across the world.
yeah. Like, there's this, like I know it isn't particularly known for its story, but I think the lore in Doom Eternal is really heckin' cool because you have the arachnotrons, and the lore behind them is that some USC cultists, which are these really generally mean space devil worshipper dudes, they grabbed samples from the Spider Mastermind, who was a big old spider demon with an exposed brain that led the operation on invading Earth or whatever. And they took a DNA sample of that, and they made like somewhat weaker, more mobile versions of it, and they produced
Right.
those in a factory. But the people that ran that factory, they got killed by some arachnotrons, and now that factory produces arachnotrons indefinitely, and it just doesn't stop because there's no one being able to turn it off.
Oh, cool. That's weird.
I really love that, honestly, where it's
That's really
like
cool.
just this endless stream of annoying turret spiders.
Yes, it's a good excuse for gameplay too.
Yeah, where it's like they keep coming and they keep coming and they don't stop coming and they don't stop coming. But do we want to work with that where it's like a couple of people who are like, okay, humanity's fricked. We need to make more plants, and then everything goes wrong, and now they have this plant thing.
I think that's the best way to go about it.
Yeah, it could also be like a deity going like, okay, humanity is freaking this planet the heck up. I'm gonna just floop, and then the plants go start going berserk.
I like the sciency alternative. What do you
It
like?
is very fun. Yeah, I think I like it more.
And here's the deal. Now that we know, say there's a virus that these scientists release on plants, and it's slowly spreading across the entire world, where all the plants in the world are going to grow huge, fast, and endlessly. What are the consequences of that in the sense of, do new plants start popping up that are immune to fire?
I think it's like it starts out relatively harmless. Like I know we should also think of the place where it starts in, because if it starts out in Antarctica, it might just maybe it does start out in Antarctica, and like
Uh
that's where the
huh.
virus kind of evolves to withstand extremes. So then when it finally reaches, like I don't know, uh like a place with actual plants, it just moves so rapidly. But that
Yeah.
that that wouldn't make sense though. That wouldn't make sense of why the winter would slow it down. So we should have like an area that's like that has like a decent amount of plants, you know? I think it could be fun to make it start out in like South Africa, honestly.
Uh huh. And eventually it evolves to like corals and underwater plants to where, so like the plants can
Oh
grow in
yeah.
extreme temperatures and they can grow underwater, so they go through the oceans. So like the virus just keeps evolving.
I feel like it's kind of it isn't like a new like a singular kind of plant, but it's more like a virus that transfers from plant to plant that makes the plants like grow a lot bigger, grow a lot faster, grow a lot more
Yeah,
hostile in a way.
exactly. Exactly.
Maybe there's like an implied sense of conscience where it's like really specific with its evolutions and
Growing
very
patterns?
quick,
Oh, that's cool.
where it's
That's
like,
cool.
okay, we have known like the plants don't seem to have any protrusions, so we can wear these uh, quite baggy suits with that are like airtight, you know. And
Yeah.
then like the next year, the plants come back with like thorns all over them, basically,
What if
like some kind of
the virus
implied
is like
conscience.
actually does have consciousness and it has like a base that's like its hive mind? It's like it's
Oh yeah, I love that, honestly.
yes, it's like kind of the queen plant, but I don't want it to be to like where if you kill the queen plant, everything dies because it is a
Yeah,
virus. It's not an animal.
it's not an
So
animal.
I think like if one day they could like dig underneath the earth and just find this massive glowing tangle cluster of vines and flowers that's like throbbing and like it's just like and they're like, "Oh, this is like sentient."
Yeah, I think it could be fun. Like the whole goal of the show, of like the or the whatever, the main characters would just be like, we need to find the source, kill it, and then get rid of the rest.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just realized this is literally extreme gardening. Like, if you want to know what this world feels like, ask your parents, like, hey, can I help pulling out the weeds one day? And imagine that, except the weeds are like gigantic and you need guns or whatever.
Okay, yes, that's hilarious. What would the crop situation be? Like, do people get more agriculture? Like, are there more pieces of wheat and bigger pieces of fruit? Is fruit poison now with this virus? Like, is this virus poisonous to people?
Maybe like at first the virus is relatively harmless, and there could be an alternate future where they just live among these gigantic plants. But in this universe, the government didn't want to do anything of it, so they attacked it with like bombs or whatever, and then it made the food poisonous, and
Uh
that's
huh.
kind of where the war started.
Oh yeah, it could. I guess it's kind of like a war. I guess the plant wants to take over the earth like a leech and use it for its sustenance.
Yeah, like it's a like it's not really an evil plan because
No, I mean that's what the humans do. The humans took over the earth and used its stuff for their sustenance. The
but
plant's just
like
doing the same thing.
yeah, the plant just wants to spread. Really, it's a plant. It wants to spread. It wants to have more plants. Really.
Oh, that's a real. I love this idea of like one day they're like walking through a cave and they see the hive mind and they're like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Holy
But
crap.
before then, there's implied sentience and the virus is like evolving quicker than they know what to do with. So it's like, guys, there's plants underwater now. It's gotten off Africa. It's transferring to America and England and whatever.
From Africa to America, I just realized this is a Dutch song and it doesn't make sense in other countries. Anyhow, uh,
What?
there's a like Dutch Belgian whatever song that goes like from Africa to America to the
Wait.
Himalayas to the desert.
It doesn't sound as good in English.
Ja, it's like van Afrika tot in Amerika, tot in de Himalayas, tot in de woestijn. But basically, I still think it's funny because that's from a band. Like, it's technically a kids band called K3. And I just realized, oh no, wait, how did they never realize this is literally KKK? No, stop.
But what if there were like plant activists who were like pro virus?
They wouldn't even be like it would be less sillier than like being anti-vax because they're plants, you know.
Right. They would be like, there's no harm in the plants. They're just growing. They're gonna give us food. Which I feel like there could be like an actual good organization of people who are pro plant and are fighting against the people who are fighting against the plant. So now they have two things to worry
I think
about.
that would be more like a beginning thing, but like the more the war goes on, the more hostile the plants are.
And the more everybody's just like, nope.
Nope, nope, nope. Heck no. What I do want to avoid with this is where it's like plant golems. Like at some point, the plants just take humanoid shape.
Yeah, no, no. That ruins the mystery. As soon as you make something humanoid, it becomes more relatable and more tangible, and it's easier to grasp. Like a hive mind bacteria is way scarier than a plant golem.
We don't like. I really want it to be like the environment fighting against them, especially if we set it up like we kind of ruined it by like we're letting you guys in on the brainstorming session. If this would be like an actual show, we would never tell you about the whole start of it, and it would just be a mystery. Like there's all these plants going, why or how?
Right.
But like the way I would like to make this play out is like in like the near future, so like 2040 or something. It's like scientist finds plant virus and like he invents it, and then the plant starts spreading across like South Africa or whichever continent we might want.
Uh
And
huh.
then people, the locals, like I would like to start off in South Africa, because then you might have like first the locals profiting off of that, but then it kind of spreads to the more connected cities, and they're like, "Yo, America, we have these funky plants. They give us lots of food, but they do spread very rapidly." And then America or Europe or Russia is just like, "No, we ain't having none of that. We're gonna bomb this."
Yeah, exactly. And eventually the plants grow through the ocean. The virus evolves to have underwater plants and stuff. And like new species of plants people have never seen start popping up.
I don't want this to be like a 2 months. The entire world is infected,
No, it's years. It's years.
like decades, I'd say even, because every winter the plant, even like maybe every autumn, the plants get kind of pushed back. You know,
Yes, exactly. And they die out, but then they come back stronger the next summer. So every winter they have a few months, like
I'm
let's say
not.
a 6 month period to prepare.
I think the cycle would go like let's say they start from winter, so in or like what's the month? Oh frick, I forgot the freaking seasonal cycle. I am so dumb. It's
It's
like
fall, winter, summer, spring, summer, sorry.
even we are so smart. Like maybe uh in spring is where it adapts, because in spring is where the plants grow, you know? Maybe spring is the place where it adapts to the current surroundings. So like the year before they might have had those really baggy airtight suits, and now in spring they kind of grow the forms, and then in
Uh-huh.
summer they're at its full strength, and then it goes to winter immediately after that, right? Or no, it
Uh-huh.
goes to autumn. It goes to fall first, right?
Yes, and then winter.
Okay, and then in fall it kind of starts to weaken down a bit, but it's still a problem.
Yeah.
And then in winter it's basically halted. Like it
Yeah.
might be present in some areas, but it's basically halted. And like around the equator would be the most dangerous place to be. Like as soon as the plants spread around the equator, that's where it's most dangerous.
Yeah, and maybe like the after like a decade or two, the winter stops working and like the plant
Oh,
evolves to adapt to the cold.
I don't. Honestly, I don't like that idea because it breaks one of the rules. You know,
Uh-huh.
I do like the idea of having some sort of regularity to it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so here's what I was thinking. On like the political side of things in a sense, I feel like once this would get a certain level of badness and threat, every government in the world and every place would just be like, let's stop fighting each other and let's fight Leaf.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was envisioning too. Like just humanity versus plants, really.
Can we also have a new branch of the military called Plant Force?
Oh, it's all going to be plant force, really. Maybe I feel like plant force is just a bit silly. I think it could be like we need to come up with like a name for the plant. Maybe just be lazy and name it like Flora Mort, which literally means like plant dead in Latin or whatever. Uh, but I like the idea of the military and all that, all those services being called the Allied Extermination Force.
Oh yeah, Allied Extermination Force. And it would be cool if their like cool nickname, like among the people, was like the Weed Killers,
Oh, that is very fun.
the Gardeners.
The Gardeners.
That's so cool.
Maybe there's like gigantic contraptions that are literally like rakes, or like entire mechs with buzz saws on them or whatever.
Yeah, But like the slang term, just like how you call police officers cops, it would be like gardeners for the Allied extermination force.
I do like the idea of like the military sci-fi ish elements in it, where it's like also
Yeah,
very
exactly.
personalized. Like you have a platoon. Maybe you could even have like tell multiple stories across decades about this whole plant
Different
invasions.
generations fighting this plant, yes.
That would like different stories parallel to each other. So there might be a storyline about a scientist trying to uncover all this. There might be a storyline about a couple of Marines who are just trying to get by and fight this plant stuff. You know, that could be a
Uh
storyline
huh.
of I don't know, like general politicians being like, "Ah, frick, they done did it again."
Yeah, so the
You know?
story isn't a main character, it is literally humanity versus plant.
Yeah, and also I don't want I want to avoid have it to be where like yeah these plants are invincible. They're completely invulnerable to fire. Every single plant is invulnerable to fire. Like I would like to do like research into plants and actually see what plants are resistant to what extent, you know?
Yeah, and they could have enhanced abilities. But I think we would need to think about plant forces, or what were we going to call them? Gardeners, I think is my favorite
Gardeners.
term for them.
I like it.
We would need to think about what they do. Like
These
what do
sound
they use?
super fun to draw, like honestly, like gardening equipment combined with military sci-fi stuff. Sign me the
Oh, that
heck up.
sounds like an awesome concept. Oh, I want to draw this now.
This sounds super awesome. Maybe like there's this vehicle in Skylanders, I think, where it's like like a very horizontal like cylinder slash rectangles type truck, and in the
Yeah.
middle is segmented. In the middle it's segmented, and there's a rotating chainsaw. So it's a chainsaw blade that rotates like around the vehicle.
Oh, that'd be so perfect. They could have all kinds of choppy devices.
So it's like an all-terrain vehicle with like this giant buzzsaw or chainsaw in the middle that just cuts plants.
That's
You know,
really cool. That's really, really cool. Yeah, all their weapons would be geared more towards slicing than piercing.
maybe there's even like a whole squadron. Like I don't want it to be where like maybe we could even have like a specific kind of plant where if you cut it off, it's still somewhat alive and it could if they take it back to basic infects them, that might be not fun. We'll see. But I like the idea of like they run all their operations on electricity and they gather electricity by burning gas. And the way they gather so much gas is by uh like the buzzsaw squadron might like cut off a giant piece of plant, you know?
Uh huh.
And there's a retrieving squadron which takes these giant pieces of plants in like helicopters or something and drops them into gigantic incinerators
Uh huh.
where they use the steam from it, or they throw them like there could be uh like fires like burning up stations where they use the steam to generate electricity, and they could have like
Right.
decompositing stations because if you make any organic stuff decomposite, it's going to leave some gas. So that's where they could get gas from, and they could get electricity from that. And I think it could be fun that like normally in any normal setting, like dropping like truckloads of organic material into an incinerator and doing that like as a sole reason for electricity is kind of silly, but it kind of gets canceled out because the plants are so produce so much oxygen, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they could come up with different weapons like oxygen trappers to where they,
Oxygen destroyers.
yeah, like some kind of something that like sucks up all the oxygen or maybe squirts a ton of CO2 out or something.
Yeah, maybe they could even have like uh mobile bases which are just like these giant tents that are like airtight and you have to wear like oxygen tanks in them so no
Uh-huh.
plant can get in because there's no oxygen.
Oh, that's right. That's really smart. And like that's the one thing the plant can't seem to evolve to get into.
Like I don't want to like I want to make it evolve in like creative way, in just like haha countered you.
Yeah, no, I don't want it to just be invincible. I feel like what the evolution would look like is the humans do something and the plant responds.
Yeah,
So the humans are like, we're gonna start scorching it. Oh no, it's starting to make new fireproof type plants. We need to come up with a
yeah.
more creative method to get rid of these
But
plants. And
I do
then
wanna keep it like in general. Uh, like I wanna keep the plants overall. Like this could be mitigated with certain ones, like bark could be more resistant to fire or whatever. Specific
yeah,
type of
exactly.
release
It's
with bark.
certain plants would be evolving, not all of them.
Yeah, but like specializing that could be cool. But like in general, I want the plant weaknesses to be like general plant weaknesses, which is just extreme temperatures, brute force, and lack of oxygen or sunlight.
Yeah, and I think it would be cool to keep the threat level not like piranha plant where it's like man eating chomping plants. The
Yeah,
threat comes from the fact that humans will suffocate if too many plants take over the earth.
yeah, that's also true because would humans suck fat? Yeah, because at some point there would be too much oxygen.
Yeah, there would be one, too much oxygen, and two, they would have no room to live anymore.
That's also true.
So if the plants in theory kept growing, it would literally push all the humans or trap them on Earth, or it
How
would
would
push them
the
out into
what would the
orbit.
situation be with like other animals?
That's what I'm trying to think.
Would they just die?
I think other animals would kind of just end up dying. Maybe like because we also have to think about is the virus in the plants poisonous to people or does it do nothing?
I don't I think like the like we wanted to imply some conscious like I honestly like the to make this show even this concept even more vegan, where it's like uh it's okay like the plant virus only adapts to fight against stuff that kills it. It's like
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
not like cows or whatever because those are like minimal damages, but like humans dropping bombs on it, they're like, okay, we're gonna poison your corn now, America.
Exactly. Exactly. But also the thing is the earth, I mean the plant would never harm the earth. It would only harm the people because the plant gets its sustenance from the earth.
Yeah, with all the juicy minerals and water it has.
Exactly. Basically, I think it would be fun if like the plant started like in Africa, like right at the equator, and it started very minimal and over decades started stretching out.
I wouldn't want to make it start at the equator because if it started at the equator, it would just go like, haha, plants go brrr, and then humanity would be suffocated. Honestly,
Well, if it started at the equator, that would mean it would have a hard time surviving overseas in colder climates, but like slowly over decades it starts branching out.
that is true.
No pun intended.
But like branching out, like again, I like the idea of it starting in like South Africa because it's not specifically at the equator, but it tends to be fairly well grown. You know,
Uh-huh.
like in the more southern regions of South Africa.
Yeah.
And then there might be like giant battalions in the rainforest, in the like
Uh-huh.
big rainforest there, like the Amazon.
Yeah, story wise, I think it could like follow like a few different main characters over periods of time, like have
Yeah,
different stories. So it could follow the scientist that creates the virus. Then it could
maybe
follow
I
a
think the scientists that create the virus should die, and it should be a different scientist trying to figure it out, so that the secret is also
oh,
kept from the
okay.
audience. You know?
Yeah. So like no one fully understands the virus except for that dude and he died cuz right whenever he made it, the plants immediately like suffocated him.
Yeah, something like that.
So also I think it would be fun for it to follow like maybe one storyline would be follow a gardener who's just leaving his family to go join
Yeah,
the
to join
force.
like a battalion of other
Yeah,
guys.
and it follows like his training and it follows and then one of them could follow like a government guy who like made his way to the top and he's currently trying to figure out how to fight against these plants.
Yeah, I like the idea more of like seeing the corporate and like advancement stuff through the military's eyes, because that's a lot more exciting because it's like indirect, you know. Like Corp said, the plants now have thorns, but then our airtight suits won't work. Frick. What do we do now?
Exactly.
And then they might come up with a creative solution like walking on stilts.
Right.
But I think the plants could also like devolve sometimes.
If they see that energy is being wasted, so if they're spending energy on making fireproof plants but they haven't been scorched in a long time, they stop making fireproof plants.
Yeah, something like that. Like it gets got like it like normally in evolution that wouldn't happen. It would just kind of be a redundant thing that just
Exactly.
gets left behind. But it's conscient. Like this thing is sentient.
If it's sentient, it is wasting energy. It's wasting energy doing this.
So it's like every year, every spring and summer, there's like a new kind of threat.
Yeah, it's a different kind of threat that maybe the thing that didn't work last year does work this year, or maybe it doesn't, and you need something new.
And then the whole storyline with the gardeners could be like, just in general, like every year they have to figure out something new. But I don't want it to be like, oh yeah, this year we're dropping them with radiation. This year we're piloting mechs. Like that could be fun, but I don't want to go overly extreme with it.
Yeah, I think it would be funner to have almost smaller solutions in a way, you know?
Yeah,
So, like, stilts are vans with spikes, or suits with
yeah.
a new material, you know, like, or gas, or domes that kill oxygen.
Do we want mechs? And if so, how big and advanced would they be? Or like robots even?
Well, here's the thing. How fast do these plants grow? Let's say they're at the peak of their season. They're like in the middle of summer, the best place you could be. How fast would they grow?
I think like, because how many days are there in summer? Like 90, roughly?
There's 104 days of summer.
Yeah. Okay, let's assume 104 days then, Coda. That was a very clever joke, by the way. My God. Uh, God dang it. Let's see. I'd say like maybe 100 to 150 meters a day.
Yeah, that's fair. I think depending on the plant, like some plants grow rapidly and some
Yeah.
don't.
Like maybe it could be like you could have like plants like trees that take forever to grow. Relative that take relatively forever to grow, but you get kind of more quality for it, and then you could have like general weeds, which some like the Marines might go like, oh yeah, we got weeds here. Oh dang, we're lucky, and then they
Yeah,
can kind of
exactly.
exterminate it fairly easily.
Exactly.
I think that could be a very fun storyline to follow with like these Marines hearing from Corp their new advancements and them having them having to think of solutions. Maybe their whole job is to just think of a solution and also fight them. Like they don't have a
Yeah, I
separate.
think maybe their job isn't to think of a solution. There's probably going to be an idea team or an inventor team. But what if, like, the storyline follows a gardener who thinks of a solution when no one else can and, like, gets praised for it?
That could be fun, but then it'll be really hard to write because there might be like an easy solution like nuclear bombing or whatever. Like
Yeah.
we need to think of a reason why isn't there just a.
Nuclear bombing probably wouldn't be a good solution just because it would kill people, it would destroy the earth, you know.
Honestly,
Like,
I feel like humanity wouldn't care. They would get rid of these plants. Maybe like
well, if people realized this is kind of a hive mind, this is something that we cannot kill one section at a time. We have to kill it all at once and then kill it like basically pulling at the roots in a sense. I think people would be less likely to nuke things because they're like, it's just gonna grow back.
that is true. Yeah. So I like for the general aesthetics, I'm thinking like uh Vietnam War, except more sci-fi.
Oh yeah, totally. I think it should take place somewhat in the future, so we have cool weapons.
Yeah, of course. It like I imagine the infection starting at like 2040, and then the whole storyline could take place until like 2160, and it wouldn't be like, oh yeah, we have AI now. Watch Hollow Football. on the Galaxy Station. No, it'd be like I honestly don't think like super outlandish technology will advance
Yeah,
quickly. I think it's mostly going to be like conventional stuff like stronger computers and more quality of life stuff.
exactly. I just realized we left a huge question unanswered.
Oh
How
boy.
does this affect the day to day life of people?
Yeah, I'm thinking they live in like the infection isn't global yet, like entirely. So maybe they're hidden away in bunkers, like in certain safe spaces.
Right, so like during the summer, everybody has to go in a bunker or something. But like during the winter, everyone can return to their
There
homes.
might be these like fully under like that could even be a first storyline where it's just a civilian, and then the winter episode. Like if this were an episodic thing, you might have like every episode is a new season, and maybe with a
Uh
few
huh.
more exceptions, like it's a particularly uh intense summer, so it's two episodes are devoted to it. But then like
Right.
one episode could be winter, and in the winter you can see how this character's doing, how that character's doing, and that character's doing. You know,
I feel like these could be like Scooby Doo, where they're like hour long episodes.
hour-long episodes.
Yeah, like something crazy like that. Because if you
Yeah.
think about it, if we have one episode devoted to the scientist, one devoted to the gardener, and one devoted to a civilian, and one devoted to a government official, that's 4 episodes, and that's 4 hours of what I don't think this thing needs to be more than 4 hours.
Hmm. I think this could be either a very short thing or a very long thing. Like it could, as I said, this storyline could take place across decades. You know.
Right, but there's not too much to explore. Like, there's not any new concepts
Uh,
being introduced. It's just fight plant, fight plant. So that we shouldn't do too
that's
long.
true. That's true. But you can also get into like the psychology of like we are literally feeding off of plants, and it's also what we're fighting. How can we know that these things are not just gonna turn against us anytime soon? Why don't we just eradicate them all? You know?
Well, I think maybe once the plants started overgrowing, it became too difficult to keep livestock. So people are mostly surviving off of plant food now and like
I
produce.
do like the idea of like livestock being a lot more uh like
Scarce.
yeah, luxury. Like it's a luxury.
Yeah, only certain people in certain places can actually keep livestock. And maybe like you can only keep livestock that can survive in Antarctica because that's the place where plants can't survive as much. So like
Yeah,
it would be like polar bears and seals are the main meat.
that could be fun. Maybe it's like in bunkers there's like underground grass fields with cows in them, whatever.
Oh yeah. Well, would that grass not be infected?
No, because like as we said, like the it isn't global. Like the infection actually has them places. You know, it isn't just
Uh
like
huh.
oh I've made contact with this singular plant. Now every single plant on planet Earth has been infected.
Yeah, I think most plants by the end of it would be infected,
Yeah.
but there would still be safe spots. So, for example, they have a metal hut that the virus can't get in and out of because it's made of metal or glass.
Mm-hmm.
And so people are always like sterilized when they go in. People make sure none of the virus is on them, and then they get to tend to and harvest the crops in there that are uninfected.
So it's kind of like an investment thing. Like we put these crops into the silos, and next year we'll have crops out of these silos. You know.
Exactly.
So would we have like robots in this world? I don't think so. Like maybe only robots that are like man operated.
So were you saying mechs?
No, I was saying like robots, and I think drones could be a thing where
Yeah,
there's
drones would be most effective because they could go above the plants and squirt
yeah,
down weed killer or whatever. So, I think that's all the time we have for today to build
yeah.
that world. We've recorded for exactly an hour and 40 minutes.
Hey, that's nice.
I think that's pretty good. We got a lot of fun world building done.
And be sure to comment down below which idea was your favorite. If we went with the most interesting idea, would you like us to actually expand on this world some more and think out more stuff and actually think of characters and design them and locations.
Yeah, for sure. And maybe we might write a short story based off of it if it's well received, or maybe we might just forget about it and do another one of these episodes. If you have any suggestions for world genres, make sure to let us know on YouTube, Instagram, comment down below on this video.
I just want to say, I think it's funny that we started off, yeah, let's make a wacky, silly world, and we ended up with like, plants take over the world and everyone will die eventually.
Hey.
But yeah, I think we thought of a very fun world. I hope you guys enjoyed it too, to hear us ramble on about stuff and think of stuff and just be creative, you know.
Be creative. I mean, we literally came up with the concept for this world by going plants, threaten, cosmos.
Like
because...
we didn't go with the whole cosmos thing, but
yeah, it was just humanity, but still.
Like,
we came up with this idea literally by just goofing off and doing one word each.
exactly. And if something doesn't work the first time, you can always try the second time. Like, at first we came up with freaking tiny fire around a tiny banana that is also on fire.
Oh, I still want to write a short story about tiny fire around a tinier banana that is also on fire.
Drop all your projects and write that right now.
If somebody writes us a story about this, I will be eternally in your debt.
Debt eternal. But anyhow, this has been this week's episode of Art Friends. Be sure to like it if you enjoyed it, even if it's a tiny bit. Just press it real quick. And be sure to subscribe if you would like more of this kind of stuff.
Yes, go check us out on Spotify. You can find Art Friends, same name, or on Instagram at artfriends_cast.
Links are in the description. Don't you dare forget Coda.
But we hope you enjoyed this episode of Coen and Coda doing some world building.
Yay. We could even have like more people on next time.
Yeah, we could totally build a world. And like if somebody's super into sci-fi stuff, we could build a sci-fi world. Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, we could even like, and this is a very outlandish idea, but get some voice actors on and like story writers, voice actors / story writers on, and kind of build some characters. We could have tons of people on and like voice act / write with us. You know, like we're not doing anything particular. It's just having fun, creation and stuff, and I think it's cool.
Yeah, just creative. We're art friends. We enjoy being friends and being creative. We're just gonna do it.
Yeah, and I feel very inspired to do a ton of concept art right now.
Me too. I'm going to draw some gardeners. I am so excited.
It's gonna be very cool. That'll be this episode, everyone. Is there anything you have left to say, Coda?
No, I don't have anything left to say except for goodbye. Alright, everybody. We will see you hopefully in the next episode. Alright.
See you.
Bye.
Have a nice day. But also, Coda, do you... I need to check you on this one. Do you know Donald Duck's love interest?
Is it not Daisy?
Oh, that's her name. Wait, can you send an image of Daisy Duck?
Yes.
'Cause I'm not sure if it's the same one.
I don't think... In, like, the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, they're not love interest anymore, which stinks. I need that sexual tension. But
I need that sexual tension between my female duck and the one who talks like. Otherwise, I'm just not interested, honestly, in this kid show without the sexual tension.
That is how you describe those characters. One is the one that goes, and the other one's just a girl.